two puzzle pieces that didn't really fit together. We found a cocktail waitress holding a pink tray of Heidi teenies and grabbed some. Caroline gazed around the room. Pink balloons, pink disco balls, pink tablecloths, pink cupcakes. "This is color fascism," she announced dryly. "Or tint totalitarianism," Kurt said, and Caroline high-fived him. But I was still stuck on Iranian stereotypes. I mean, my culture basically invented poetry, math, and rice, I said. But all people seem to care about is that some of us have tacky taste, wear too much cologne, and build really ugly McMansions. "Hey," Kurt said, "at least you have a culture. The only culture in my house growing up was homemade yogurt." Kurt's mom was an actress, or therapist, depending on what day you asked her, and she was all about growing her own vegetables and fermenting kombucha. Kurt had a point, but I hated that most people who heard the words Persian, 15, and Beverly Hills would immediately assume I was a spoiled Persian princess. They would have thought I was one of those girls who pouted until her father hired One Direction to perform at her Sweet 16 party. For the record, I liked One Direction. When I was 9. The girl you're imagining, the beautiful Persian princess, that's Heidi, who stood in a circle with her Persian posse, aka the Nosejobs. Heidi looked up at me and smiled. Her just whitened teeth were perfect. She was wearing a skin-tight pink leopard print dress. Her hair looked like it was straightened on an ironing board, and it had pink highlights for the occasion. Basically, she looked like a cross between Kylie Jenner and Hello Kitty. And by the way, she was the kind of girl who would have taken that as a compliment. Heidi gave me a small wave with her left hand, and I noticed how perfect her manicure was. She had turned into our mothers, and I had turned into a chunky girl with dirty fingernails. I gave Heidi an awkward wave with my left hand, and then I quickly tried to hide my hands in my pockets. But the poofy pink dress I wished I weren't wearing didn't have pockets, so the gesture just felt weird and unfortunate. I knew better than to bother walking over to Heidi, and she didn't come over either. It was hard to imagine that Heidi and I used to be best friends, but that was a long time ago. Now she was beautiful and popular, and I was, well, authentic. Heidi's mother, basically a grown-up version of Heidi, approached her and whisked her off to another room, no doubt to greet some elderly Persians. Respecting your elders is a really big thing for us. As the Authentics and I did a lap around the room, I realized this was the first time my two disparate worlds, high school and Tehrangeles, had been brought together. To my left were the drama kids. To my right were my father's golf buddies. To my left was our high school soccer team. To my right were my mother's rummy ladies. And then I saw my parents gliding toward me, looking sophisticated as ever. We had arrived separately, since I'd gotten ready at Joy's house. "There you are," Baba said. "You look beautiful." He was lying. I looked fat and pimply, though the dress Joy had picked out for me was cool in a throwback kind of way. "Thanks, Baba," I said. "Hello, kids," my mom said, as she took in our colorful outfits. Caroline was wearing a pink bow tie with a vintage white polyester suit. Kurt was wearing a pink checkered shirt, white pants, and his signature fedora. Joy wanted to be a designer, so she'd picked all our outfits, but obviously hers looked best. A fuchsia disco dress she found on Melrose that she swore once belonged to Bianca Jagger. Joy was good at dressing us, but an expert at dressing herself. True confession, I had to Google Bianca Jagger, but I didn't tell Joy. She took her style icons very seriously. "It's wonderful to see you all," Sheila said to my friends. My mother liked me to call her Sheila, probably because it allowed her to pretend she was my older sister. She was lying, too. I mean, my mother liked the Authentics all right, but she wished I were still best friends with Heidi. She got Heidi, and she had no idea what to do with the Authentics.